Alright guys, my name is Faints, and today we're going to be going over some more PvP battles. Today we have some two crazy ones, both really showcasing Kyogre pretty well, both the Mega and my non-Mega. But this first one that we're going to be checking out, this guy actually, he only had two Megas, but the Kyogre was kind of causing me problems. Plus the whole team was just pretty strong in general. It was like full legendary. So I saw that he had Ice Punch, so I swapped into my Kyogre here. Take that Ice Punch, and then he also had Thunder Punch, so I swapped into my Zapdos and absorbed that electric stuff with my Lightning Rod. So I got that special attack boost, and I was kind of questioning if I should do the Thunderbolt or not, and I did, and he just dealt back the exactly what I did to him. So he goes for the Toxic here, and I'm like, oh shoot, he outspeeds me because we both went for the Toxic. So I was like, okay, I gotta swap out here. So I went to the Steelix, and it did not get any Toxic damage. So I go for the Rock Slide. Oh no, I went for the Taunt because I didn't want him doing any more of that Toxic damage. So here I was like, okay, I can probably live another hammer arm off of that Goldberry, and I might be able to outspeed because of that speed drop, but I didn't outspeed, and he killed me with the crit. So I was like, wow, what kind of luck is that? So I just sent in my Garchomp right here. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna go for a Hone Claws. Because he didn't have Ice Punch, which was kind of crazy. But the Intimidate hits, but I also that Hone Claws up, which boosted my attack. So I was like, I might as well just get rid of this thing because I really didn't want to take a hit. And so I'm like, I might as well go for like a flinch, see how much damage it does, and it doesn't do a lot. Like it does terrible. It doesn't do much damage at all. And then he ends up critting me and one-shotting me, but I don't really know if I had a chance taking an Ice Beam from a Mega Kyogre, um, if uh, if it wasn't a crit. So I just wanted to toxic that Kyogre, and he ended up switching into the Zapdos, which I got that toxic on him, which I was pretty happy about. So he toxics my Giratina, and I just go for a Shadow Force to stall that toxic out even more. And so he goes for the Roost here to stall out the inevitable. And but it was also to get the toxic damage on me, which was which was smart. But so I go for the Shadow Force again, and he just roosts. But I think the toxic damage would have taken him out even after, even if I didn't hit him with the Shadow Force right there. But so I take him out, right, and I'm like, okay, I can probably just get a toxic off on him, because I thought that I could live the Ice Beam, which I did. It also has that Never Melt Ice on there, which really increases that. And so it takes it one turn to get the Severe Poison out. I'm like, great, he's gonna have rest. This is gonna be a problem. I thought he would probably start setting up, because that's what a majority of the rest things use. But I just go for the Protect here, to stall out the toxic damage, and he just goes for the rest. So it was kind of a bad play on my part, but I don't know. So I go for the outrage there, and he ends up taking me out in one shot, which was really unfortunate. So here I'm like, okay, I can probably just thunder him if I can live this, and I did, luckily. I don't really know how I lived that. I was honestly expecting to get destroyed, but so here I get the paralysis first turn. If you didn't know, Thunder has like a 30% chance of paralyzing, which I was like really happy about, because it really helped me out. So first I get the outspeed, which I didn't need that quick claw to outspeed him, but he gets fully paralyzed. So I'm like, perfect, I can just knock him out right here. And he lives. I'm like, oh no, he's gonna take me out, and he can go for a rest the next turn, or this turn actually. But he ended up he ended up getting a paralysis again, and I was like, oh my gosh, what kind of luck is that? That is really good for me. So here he sends in the Metagross. I'm like, okay, I'll probably just outspeed this, but I didn't. I was gonna go for the Hydro Pump there. But he also had the Hammer Arm, and he consistently used that. So I want to say that it's Choice Banded because, but it wasn't really doing too much damage to my Steelix, so I'm not too sure. So so here my Zapdos is the only one left, and I'm like, oh my god, this is terrible because he's got the Tyranitar with that special defense boost with the Sandstorm. And I'm like, okay, I just gotta stall this thing out. I gotta get full health, maybe stall out the Sandstorm with the Roost. So I just waited. I did another Roost here. Waited until I was at full health, and or he missed, but I toxic here because I knew that I could take another one as long as he didn't crit me. Thank God he didn't. Um, but I was really hoping that he didn't have a quick claw either, because that would be a major problem as well. But here I just roosted and got the toxic stall going, taking out his Tyranitar. And I was kind of thinking, I'm like, was trying to figure out who his last mon was, and it was really hard so to figure out. And I'm like, okay, who's he gonna swap out next? And he goes into Regigigas. I'm like, oh god, this thing can be a tank sometimes. And so I just go for that Thunderbolt, and it does pretty decent damage. He goes for the Ice Punch. I'm like, please don't freeze me, and he didn't. So thank God I got that win. But luckily with that Tyranitar, I could take that out with the Thunderbolt, and because of that special defense, dropped once that Sandstream was finished. But so here, this guy has 3 megas, right? He's got the Kyogre, which I was very scared of once I saw the purple. I'm like, great, I'm gonna get swept by this thing. Like, he's gonna set up, he's gonna rest off a toxic, and he's gonna just do nasty damage to me. So he goes for the Ice Beam to take out my Chomp, and I'm like, yeah, no, that's not happening. So he switches in the Metagross, and I thought he was gonna go for a Thunder, so I swapped in my Zapdos to absorb it, but he swapped out anyway. So I went for a Heat Wave here. I was questioning if he would stay into that, but I was like, it's probably best to do Heat Wave. And so I thought that he was going to do a Hidden Power Ice, and I was like, well, he's probably gonna expect me to swap in after I messed up that swap in. So I just went for a Calm Mind, and then I went for the swap after that, and he fell for it, which I was really happy with. I like playing mind games with people. So my Toxic misses. I'm like, oh great, what if he has Toxic? But he just had Hidden Power Ice, which I was pretty okay with. So I just go for the Toxic again. Or do I go for Heat Wave? Yeah, I went for a Heat Wave because I was expecting him to switch. He seemed like somebody who would switch out because he swapped out after like the Kyogre and all that stuff. So I was like, he's probably gonna switch here. And this guy lives on 76 health, which is basically the equivalent of 1 health, because like look how small that red bar is. So I just go for the Roost here. I was really confused as to why he would swap in or swap out his Metagross. But it was for the Light Screen, which it was definitely in his best interest to keep that Zapdos alive, because if he didn't keep the Zap alive, then that's like all of his support gone to defend against my Zapdos. So I took out the whatever it's called, no problem. I went for the Heat Wave because I wasn't too sure if the Lightning or the Thunderbolt would take it out with that Light Screen. Because I'm pretty sure Metal resists it, but so I go for the Thunder, and I end up living on that really small bit of health. But the first one, I get rid of his Miracle Berry. I'm like, oh man, what if I get the Quick Claw to work in a second paralysis? I just said that really weird. And I did get the paralysis, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I mean, that's the Kyogre. I can really do some damage to this thing now. And I'm like, okay, he's probably going to swap out, but do I really want to take a chance against this thing? No. So I just went for the Thunderbolt here, and of course he swapped into his Sap. So I'm like, okay, he's going to set up a Light Screen. There's no doubt about it. So maybe if I get a crit or something, maybe I can take it out. But it was highly doubted, and yeah, he just sets up another Light Screen. So I'm like, maybe he'll swap out or something. I can get the Toxic on, but I continued doing the Toxic because I wanted that Light Screen to disappear, because I didn't want to have to deal with the Light Screen against that Kyogre. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna take him out here after that Toxic damage. And I'm like, hopefully the Light Screen finishes by now. I wasn't really counting But as you can see right there, it says light screen status ends, which means that I was free to go for a Thunderbolt, and he lived. I was like, oh God, no, I'm gonna get taken out right here, aren't I? And somehow a purple Mega Kyogre doesn't take out me or doesn't take me out with an Ice Beam. I was very, very confused by that, and so I just went for the second Thunderbolt to finish it off. But he actually swept into his Garchomp, which was a really good move. I probably would want to preserve that as well. But I just went for the Steelix here because I knew that I wasn't really going to be getting much health back as long as he kept hitting his Dragon Rush. And he ended up critting me right there. I was fairly confident that I could live at least one what's it called? Earthquake, but he ended up critting me and taking out my Steelix. But I swapped it to the Dragonite here, and he went for that Dragon Rush when breaking my multi-scale. I usually do this a lot, hoping for that flinch, and luckily he didn't get it. But so he's going to take me out the Air Slash. I really don't really see Air Slash much very often. I think it's like an exclusive TM that you can only get from like from Path of the Overlord, or King's Lines, whatever you want to call it. But so I swapped in my Zapdos there to start roosting up to get health back, but that Fire Blast in the drought was not doing good. It was doing way too much because of the sun boosting the firepower. So I swapped into my Giratina there to tank some of those fire hits, which he did very well with. And I got that Toxic there. So I went for the Shadow Force, thinking that he would stay in, and he ended up swapping to a Kyogre, and then did a double swap for the Tyranitar to take it out. So he didn't have the Sandstream, so I'm like, okay, this guy's gonna have a nerve, so he's probably gonna Toxic me. But because of the Sandstream, or because he doesn't have Sandstream, I can probably take him out with an Aerosphere with that special defense not being boosted, and he ended up lifting like really little bit of health and being able to Toxic me. So I was like, dang, but I just went for Shadow Forces here because that was my most damage output, and I probably wouldn't have lived a damage here, or an attack plus the toxic damage here. But I got a lot of damage off. I was really happy because now I just swapped to my Garchomp, and I went for a Hone Claws because I knew that he could burn me. I have the Miracle Berry, and the toxic damage would take him out no matter how much he would do. He ended up doing a lot of damage, but he got the crit. Maybe he was thinking that he would outspeed me, but blue +1 speed up nature Garchomp was not happening. So I'm like, alright, perfect. I'm gonna kill him and he lives on 6 health. I'm like, what? No way. If that was my last Mon, I would be so mad. Like, I would be so mad if he lived on 6 health and just took me out. Oh my god, you would not hear the end of it. But yeah, guys, that is going to be all that I have for today. If you guys did enjoy, definitely drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you're new. It would be greatly appreciated. But yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say. My name is Faints on behalf of Master Guild Server 39, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.